Hello, welcome back to Bald and Board Games. I am Bald. Board is away, so I've been doing a Rulebook Rundown series on Mythwind, going through everything that we just got in the all-in edition. So I went through the entire base game and all the characters, and just finished going through the expanded Horizons little extra goodies, as well as the fifth character, the Innkeeper. Very cool, another puzzly character. They all are. It seems like a very fun game. I have not actually played this myself yet, so I'm enjoying reading about how to play each of these characters and going through and seeing, okay, how they interact with the world. So this video is going to be a relatively quick one, though. We're going to go through some of these micro expansions here down at the bottom. So we have the Secret Lives of Sprites. We have this event card pack that came with it. And then here we also have the Winds of Magic. So I'm just going to cover these three quickly in here for you all. And then I have one more rulebook rundown to do. That's going to be the Friends and Family expansion as well, which will be a separate video. So for this one, buckle up. We're going to go through these quick little ones. It'll be a very quick turnaround. So we're going to start with these smaller ones, and then we'll go with this middle one here. So we have the Secret Life of Sprites, which is this deck of cards here. So the instructions say, congratulations, you have arrived in the Mythwind Valley. Life here is like many other places you've been, but some curious differences. Most notable are the sprites you bump into as you explore. Some are more reclusive than others, but they all seem interested in the town's success. So you're going to shuffle the Secret Life of Sprites cards into the adventure deck. A player will resolve a Secret Life of Sprites card when it is the top card of the adventure deck. Then the player rolls 2 dice from the tower if able. If there are fewer, you'll roll as many as dice as possible. The player will then read the back of the card indicating the outcome based on the total pips on the rolled die. After the outcome has been resolved, remove the cards from the game. Okay, oh, interesting here. So clarifications for some of the characters here is good. So these are going to be shuffled into the adventure deck. So when they end up on top of the adventure deck is when it says to read them, right? Not when drawn. So a player will resolve a Secret Life of Sprites card when it is the top card of the adventure deck. So here we have a Messler, it looks like. So don't be put off by the swamp sprite's gloomy nature. They excel at finding value where others see none. So when rolling, if you roll a 0 to 2, you have this, a 3 to 4, this, a 5 to 6, this down there. So it looks like they just offer you some extra benefits when you encounter them in that adventure deck. So that's kind of fun. So if they're revealed as a next card, or they end up being that top adventure when you end up having to do some sort of adventure. I forget exactly when the adventure stuff actually happens. Huh. Anyway, fun. So we have things there. Alida, Chonk, Ponk, Messler, and Bark for the QEV. But very simple. So you shuffle those into the adventure deck, and then when it's the top card, you will do what it says. Similar to the rest of the adventure cards. When you have an adventure and it's revealed, you'll read what it says. Yeah. It's as simple as that. So very quick, Secret Life of Sprites. Give me some little benefits there. Okay, so then we had this event card pack, which are all of these here. All right, so read this first. This promo pack has a self-contained story that has been created to seamlessly integrate into Mythwind core box. Follow the instructions below and do not read any of the event or adventure cards in this pack. So for the adventure and event cards, after opening Secret Envelope 1, shuffle adventure card P1 into the adventure deck. Do not introduce the event cards at this time. Do not open the secret envelope until prompted. And on the back side, I think it says the exact same thing. Yep, same thing. So you have some event cards and you have some adventure cards. So you essentially follow those instructions when it tells you to do so. So we're not going to read those yet either. No spoilers. Okay, so here we have all of this extra goodness here for the Winds of Magic. So for Winds of Magic, how about this weather? In your life before Mythwind Valley, this was a simple conversation starter. Here and now, as you build a new life, the impact of the weather can either ease your collective efforts or be equally punishing. The climate is volatile here, but the sprites have tricks that help deal with the unexpected, ways to anticipate what's coming and use the weather to come your way. That comes your way, whatever that may be. Maybe with their help, you can also master the elements. So the Winds of Magic expansion adds more ways to interact with the weather deck in Mythwind. You will find the element in buildings, event cards, and adventure cards. The self-contained stories in the event and adventure cards seamlessly integrate into the respective decks. In addition, 5 new buildings can now be constructed, some of them providing a new type of action not included in the core box. So this component includes 7 gold cards, 10 event cards, 10 adventure cards, 5 buildings, and 2 season tiles. Winds of Magic has been created to seamlessly integrate into the Mythwind core box. Follow the instructions below to set up the Winds of Magic. So the event and adventure cards. After opening the secret envelope number 2, take event cards W1 through 9 and adventure cards W1 through 9 and shuffle them into their respective decks. Do not open the secret envelope until prompted. New buildings. There are several new buildings in the Winds of Magic expansion. Follow all prerequisite rules from the town charter. So you have goal cards. After successfully completing the following goals, shuffle in the new goal cards from the Winds of Magic. So when you complete goal card 22, shuffle in W1. So goal card 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28. So when you get up to goal card, those 20s, that's where you're going to incorporate these new goal cards into that stack. Is there an indicator on those goal cards that would be easy to remember? 2. Huh. Nope. So just 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. So it's the last of the goal cards, really. So when you get to the end, you gain 4 or more resources from buildings. Okay. So I just gotta have to remember. Does it say on their goal cards, like when they would be? Just says W1. Nope. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So actually, once you get down to the last 7 cards, you'll just be adding these in. Not even the last one, because you're going to add them in when it's the last ones. Anyway, so you have your gold cards, you have your season tiles here. So some new ones, add some added benefits, and you have your new buildings. So those can probably just be added right away. Seems simple enough. And you have all of your events and adventure cards down here. Oop, I can grab them. All these, the events and the adventure cards. Which also have to refer to this. So the secret envelope number 2 is when those get put in. 1 through 9. Okay. For the season tiles, Winds of Magic includes an alternate season tile, which increases the frequency of the weather effects triggering. Players can choose to use this season tile instead of the one included in the core box. Season tiles can be changed at the end of the season. All right, so we can include those too. So what we essentially would do, I think when we get to the switch over in the season, is we would just kind of shuffle and then, okay, we're going to use that one. And that's the one we would use instead of this one. Which those are... Oh, so it's 2 instead of the 3. So it just gets those effects in faster. So it's 2. Cool. Okay. Create some more randomness. I like it. Why not? Unique gameplay mechanics. So this is also in the Expanded Horizons one. So Expanded Horizons introduces the new lightning bolt effect. These buildings activate after a specific action has been taken. So the pottery one here, for instance, once the pottery has triggered a building effect. So when there has been 2 other patterns of 2 consecutive sunny days, you may lose resources to add a production or income resource. Cool. So you may use any resource to get a production or income. And then you have the explanation for the buildings. So pretty straightforward. So I'm going to definitely add the buildings right away because we can. Give us more options there for those buildings. But the goals, events, and stuff like that, we have to wait on. The seasons we added in as well. Yeah, everything else there. So you want to know about all this stuff over here, the Expanded Horizons, and about our Innkeeper. You have to go and watch the Expanded Horizons and Innkeeper Rulebook rundown. But that is it for those 3. That is the Secret Life of Sprites, the event card pack, and the Winds of Magic. I'm keeping these in here in respective spots. That way I know what's what when things go to be integrated. These guys are added at any point in time, I do believe. Yeah. So those will probably add right away as well once we get rolling, because there's no prerequisite to put those guys in there. Okay. That was those 3 little micro expansions for the game. So now we're going to be jumping into the friends and family. So I'm going to actually dive into that, I think, in the same video, because that was pretty quick. So I'm going to slide all of this off to the side here. Let's get our lovely back in there. So we're going to get the Expanded Horizons stuff down here. You'll get our 5th player here, the Innkeeper. Oh, right on top of it. Our little draw bag is kind of getting in the way here. Let me get that rearranged. Pop you right down there. We can get her in here. There we go. Enter book. All right. Let's jump into friends and family. Okay. We got friends and family here. Come back down to the table. Here we are. Okay. Here it comes. And there we are. Friends and family. So we have a whole new board that's going to be used. So, for friends and family, what am I going to do here? Am I going to pull it out? Yeah. Let's come out to our medium view and let's rearrange some stuff here, because I know we're going to want to see what this looks like next to our other board. So let's scoot this over. We're going to put you back up here where you were previously. Boop. There we are. We're going to grab our main board here. I do believe this next one will be going off to the right side, but we will find out here in a moment. All right. Friends and family. Mythwind Friends and Family is an expansion that breathes life into the village of Mythwind. As new buildings are constructed, the population of the valley grows, allowing the characters to make new acquaintances, meeting new friends, and maybe even find companion with whom to start a family. As characters socialize with the valley's new faces, they can form new relationships, go on new adventures, and discover new stories. This expansion allows the characters to not only interact with the other villagers of the valley, but they also work directly with each other. The farmer's roadside table sells crops to anyone who visits the crafter. The crafter can take on special character-specific requests. There are many avenues to explore, and now more than ever, the character can work together to build and grow Mythwind Valley. Cool. Mythwind Valley Friends and Family contains several new avenues for expanding the game. If players wish to use all parts of this expansion, they can follow the setup instructions to incorporate the expansion into the game at the start of their next game session, whether they're continuing in-game progress campaign or beginning a new one. Furthermore, players can use only parts of this expansion that appeal to them. For the example, new buildings, friends cards, friend board can be easily removed while still enjoying the character interaction card and the endless events. While we love playing Mythwind using all of our content, we encourage you to use the content that creates the complexity and story that works best for your table. And then here again, you see the other components list, which is board's favorite. The setup. So place the friends and family board. So place the friends and family board next to the construction cube. Ahaha, I knew it. Oh, sorry, I need it down there. Got a nice fit. Stay. Buddy, come on. There we go. Okay. Oh, well, that's why. Because I'm done. I don't need the whole thing. All I need is the actual board. We need this right here. So we have all of our components down here in the bottom. I'll show you in a moment. But this goes right there. Nice little town. You got a screen there? Perfect. Cool. What do we got to do with that? Kinda. So that's the new friends and family board. Right there. A lot of fun. Cool. All right. So, remove the following building cards from the game and place them in the game box. Interesting. Okay. So it has you removing, then add buildings. Add the 17 building cards from this expansion to the supply. There is a building card to replace each removed building from the previous step. Each building except the fishing ground that replaces one from the base game has a portrait of one of the friends from this expansion. All right, so there's building cards here. So these will replace the current ones that are in the game because they include a companion associated with them. That is cool. All right. So I'm not going to do that right now, but that is very good to know. Good. Adding friends and family expansion to an in-progress game, replace any buildings from the previous step that may be on the town board with matching buildings from the expansion. If a building is added to a location on a town board in this way, place the friend card that corresponds to that building in a slot on the friendship board, which is this here. Replace the sun weather card. So remove the sun weather card that has no icon from the game and replace it in the game box. So replace that card with the sun weather card from this expansion. Okay, so then these are replacement weather card. Oh, there's still one. So the sun weather, oh, because it adds both events. That's cool, okay. Easy enough to do as well. Okay. Gather the interaction cards. So each player gathers their set of 4 interaction cards that has their character's portrait at the top. Ew. Is that these are? Okay, so we have 4 farmer interaction cards, 4 crafter, 4 merchant, ranger, and innkeeper. So I assume with the added players that are coming, the herbalist and the shepherd, they'll probably have these cards in that expansion for them already to accommodate the friends and family portion of all of this. So we have each of those. Cool. So you would take that for your respective character. Place the interaction cards. So each interaction card depicts a different character at the bottom. Each character takes all interaction cards where there's no where wow. Each character takes all interaction cards where they are so depicted and places them near their character board. Return unused cards to the game box. Okay, so if we were playing with the innkeeper, the ranger, and the merchant, right? We would in turn, so if I was the innkeeper, then I would take a ranger card that had myself on the bottom, and I would give the ranger one of mine. The merchant, I would take the one that had me depicted at the bottom, boom, and then I would give the merchant mine for them to have. Then all of these that are not being used, well, sorry, then the merchant would also get one of his, and the ranger would get one of hers. And then all these that are not being used would go back in the game box. So now we have all of our interactions that we can do with each other. That's a nice element to the game of player interaction. Cool. All right. Gather the expedition and request cards if the ranger is being used, which the ranger is. Each other character takes the expedition card that has a portrait of their character and places it on their character tray. Okay, so merchant, innkeeper, not being used. If the crafter is being used, each other character takes the request card that has a portrait of their character, placed on their character tray. So we're not using the crafter, but if we were, then the ranger would take theirs and place it, and they would have their request card. And the merchant, theirs, and the innkeeper, theirs. So we'll imagine that there's a crafter in here somewhere for now. Okay. Add the innkeeper's component. So add the gossip cards to the innkeeper's deck of gossip cards and the party token to the innkeeper's tray. Okay. So we have more gossip cards that would be added to the innkeeper's stuff. There's a party token right here. There will go to the innkeeper's tray as well. Okay, so the friend cards, so create the supply. So the friend cards, endless event cards, heart tokens, and children dice can remain in the friend's tray to create the supply. Okay, so all of those are chilling in there. All of these are as well. Create a supply, all this stuff. Cool. And these would remain in there as well for all the excess stuff that's not needed. Cool. I think these are also just friend cards. There's a lot of friend cards, which is why they're split up here. Okay, so friends. Friends are villagers who are settling in Mythwind Valley, and they are represented by friend cards. A friend has 4 unique friend cards, each representing one of 4 friendship statuses that the friend can have with the characters in the game: acquaintance, pal, best friend, and companion. Each friend enters the game as an acquaintance. As the characters socialize with the friend, their relationship status can grow from acquaintance to pal, from pal to best friend, from best friend to companion. A companion is the ultimate form of friendship. Companions provide the characters with additional abilities and may add characters to the adventure deck, possibly leading to marriage and eventually children. A friend card's status can be determined by its heart value: 1 for acquaintances, 2 for pals, and 3 for best friends. So on here, just like it shows in the book, boop, and boop. So for Aiden, we have the acquaintance, pal, best friend, and companion, all by the heart status, right? Yep. Companion cards don't have a heart value. Does it say on the backside too? Yep. So on the back side here, it tells you companion, best friend, pal, and acquaintance. You don't have to remember that either. And there's like little stories as well on the back side for these. Cool. Additionally, a card's friendship status is presented at the bottom of the card's back. Yep. Well, like I just said. Cool. Friendship board. The friendship board contains 6 slots to hold socially active friends. When a friend enters the game, they become active, and their acquaintance card is placed in one of the 6 slots. During the game, characters can socialize with active friends that are on the friendship board. So we have our slots right there. The friends tray. The friend tray is used to store the supply of friend and family components that are not currently in play. The tray has 2 separate areas for the friend cards. One is for the supply of friend cards that are out of play, and the other is for any away friends. Okay. Once for cards out of play, there's for any away friends. An away friend has entered the game but is not currently on the friendship board. Okay. Away friends are described in detail later. So that is not what you are for. I mean, it could be. Let me choose those. Arriving friends. So these are the friend rules. Throughout the game, friends arrive in Mythwind Valley as buildings are constructed. Each friend is connected to a specific building, which is labeled to their friend card. Additionally, a friend's portrait appears on the building that signifies their arrival. After building with a friend portrait is constructed and placed in a location on the town board, the depicted friend arrives in the valley. When a friend arrives, the player takes the friend acquaintance card from the supply and reads the text on the back of the card. Then they place that card face up in one of the 6 slots on the friendship board. So, like we did right here, if Aiden's place was out, which, let's see. Aiden, printing press. So the printing press. So once Aiden's place came out, Aiden would arrive as the acquaintance, and we would read Aiden's story on the back. The steady clanking of the printing press machinery finally quiets down, and a stylish young man wearing an ink-stained apron steps out into the fresh air. Nearby villagers mumble something about noise and mess around wandering away. The stranger catches your eye and thumbs the building. Maybe a bit of ruckus, but you can't stop progress. I'm Aiden, by the way. He offers an inky hand to shake. Fun. If there's no empty slots on the friendship board, when a friend arrives, read the back of the friend card, then place it in the away area of the friend tray. Active and away friends. An active friend is any friend that has arrived in the valley and is in one of 6 slots on the friendship board. When a friend is active, characters can socialize with them, which is described later. An away friend is a friend that has arrived in the valley but is not in the friendship board. Away friends placed in the friend tray. An away friend can move to the friendship board and become active as follows. If there's ever an empty slot in the friendship board, the player can choose any away friend to become active, taking their card from the friend tray and moving it to the friendship board. At the end of each session, the players can choose to swap any number of friends, away friends, and active friends, choosing which friends they want to have active for the season. Any heart tokens on an active friend that become an away friend are lost and returned to the supply. Departing friends. If a building with a friend portrait is ever removed from the town board by either being replaced or destroyed, the friend that is associated with that building departs. When a friend departs, their active or away friend card is returned to the supply. If the card had any heart tokens on it, they're removed from the supply and returned to the supply as well. A departed friend can arrive in the town again if the building they are connected to is ever constructed again. When this happens, that friend arrives in town as an acquaintance, following the normal arrival rules. If a married friend's building is destroyed, that friend stays with the character they are married to. People like just destroy their home, they just peace out. Like, I'm done. Excuse me. They are like, what? Yeah. All right. The socialize action. The optional socialize action allows characters and friends to socialize with each other, potentially increasing the friendship status, acquaintance to pal to best friend to companion, of active friends. As a friend status increases from acquaintance to companion, new abilities and story elements become available. Socializing is a group action that characters perform together by creating and rolling an allotment of dice, the results of which can help to increase the friendship status of participating friends. The socialize action can be performed during the daytime. After resolving town actions, a character can initiate the socialize action if they used a building that has a friend portrait on it. To perform the socialize action, a player resolves the following steps. Determine participants. Each socialize action must have at least one character participant and at least one friend participant. Participants are determined as follows. So before we get to that, let's get Aiden's printing press back out here so we can illustrate. So the printing press is there. Let me clear off all this stuff from these guys. We don't need those right now. That way we're not too confused over here. Okay. We need a character. Let's grab anyone. Let's grab the merchant. All right, bring the merchant up. All right. So the merchant is here at the printing press. So each socialized action must have at least one character participant. Boom. At least one friend participant. Aiden. So a character is any character in town may choose to participate in socialized action. However, at least one character must have initiated the action by using a building that has a friend portrait on it, which we're doing. Friends. All friends who meet both the following criteria become participants. They are active on the friendship board, right here. During the current day, at least one character used the building that has their portrait on it. So at least one character used the building that has the portrait on it. So the social value, so determining the social value. The social value is the minimum number of pips the character must produce during their roll for a socialized action to be successful. So that is down here on the bottom. To determine the social value, add together the total values presented on the bottom of each participant friend's card. Make sure to use the value that corresponds to the game's character count. Use the number of characters playing the game, not the number of characters participating in socialized action. So for Aiden, for 1 to 2 players, you need to get 3. For 3 or more, you need to get 5 pips. Allocate workers. Each participating character can allot any number of their hired workers, sprites or villagers, to the action. A character can allocate as many or as few dice as they wish. The more dice allocated, the more likely the roll result will be a success. Each allocated die must come from a character's dice well and cannot be used if already during the current day. So if you used it for a working action already, you cannot use it for this. Roll dice. The characters roll all the allocated dice and add the total number of pips. If the number of pips equals or exceeds the social value, the action is a success. Otherwise, the action is a failure. So let's see here. So we had 2 dice. I needed 3 or more. This is my dice well. I roll. I got 5. So perfect. It's a success. Okay. All right. So place hearts. If the socialized action was a success, place 1 heart token from the supply on each participating friend's card. If the action was a failure, place no heart tokens, but finish all remaining steps. So who are the friends? During a 2-player game, a socialized action in which both Giller and Sam are participating. Okay. So let's see here. So the merchant uses the general store around town. So it's Giller's portrait in the general store. The merchant may initiate a socialized action for herself and all other characters after all town actions are resolved. The turn does not. So friends. All friends who meet both the following criteria become participants. They are active in all the friends. Okay. During the current day, at least one character used a building as a portrait. So then any character in town may choose to participate in socialized action. However, at least one character must have initiated an action using a building that has a friend. Oh, okay. So if you have multiple buildings out that have, so like if we had, let's say he's out here, find his spot. What is he? The foundry. Cool. So we had the foundry out, right? Here. And there's two of us, so we'll just say somebody else is over here doing something, right? Okay. That's the crafters I even imply right now. It's fine. So because I interacted with the printing press, which has one friend, we now participate. All of these friends will participate in socializing. So I don't think that's optional. I think all friends have to. So the more friends, the harder it is. It seems like. During the character day, at least one character used the building that has their portrait on it. And says at least one. So we don't have to do both, but we could socialize both of them. So if the crafter had a die they want to contribute, they could also roll their die to try and help, and that was shitty. That was a 0. So we ended up with a 5. 3 and 3, 6, not enough. So they wouldn't socialize both of them. It would only be on one. Looks like. So if we try to socialize both at the same time, it'll be a failure right now because we're trying to do both and we roll too few. Or I could choose just to socialize one, which I did earlier, which was a success. So with that success, I would put a heart on Aiden. If we successfully did both, be on both. But if we failed like we just did, it'd be no hearts on either. Yeah. Cool. So then you would return dice. So each die is returned to the character who allocated the socialized action, preserving the number of pips shown on the die. The return die cannot be used for any other action the remainder of the day. As such, the player will place these dice below the character board and return them to their dice well during dusk, along with any other used dice. If any of the dice show 0 pips, they are re-rolled at the desk until at least 1 pip, and then they are placed in the tower, board as normal, so increasing friend status. During this step, if any of the participants have a number of hearts on their card that equals or exceeds the heart value, even if there's no hearts out of the time, the friend can have their friendship status increased. A friend's heart value is shown at the top of the card. There. A friend can only increase their status once per socialized action, and the increase must follow these increments. An acquaintance can increase to pal, pal to friend, friend to companion. So here we have the 1, which is what's needed to increase Aiden from an acquaintance up to a pal. Okay. To increase a friend's status, the character who used the building with that friend's portrait on it must pay the friend's status cost according to the new status shown below. This chart is also on the reference card. What the hell? What reference card? Where is the reference card? Which one are you talking about? Is there one in this deck? What reference card are you talking about? I don't know what reference card they're talking about. Which reference card? This chart is also on the reference card. Which is the reference card. Not that one. I don't think there's a reference card. I think they forgot to add the reference cards. I don't see any reference cards. Nope. The back of the book. Yeah, it's on the back of the book. That's probably what they mean. Okay. So increase the friend status. The character who used the building with that friend's portrait on it must pay the friend's status cost according to the new status as shown below. So, cool. The cost is different for each character, and that cost increases as the status increases. After paying the cost, that friend's card, as well as any heart tokens on it, are returned to the supply. Okay, so before I upgraded that, as the merchant, I would have to pay 5 wine goods to up that person to a pal. Delayed status increase. If the character cannot or choose not to pay the cost and increase the friend status, it can be increased in the future Socialize Action, provided it still has enough heart tokens. Okay. Companions. A companion is the ultimate. Sorry, that Socialize Action is still kind of confusing for all people here. So the optional Socialize Action allows characters or friends socialize with each other. Socialize is a group action that characters perform together by creating and rolling an allotment of dice, the result of which can help increase the friendship status of participating friends. The Socialize Action can be performed during a daytime. After resolving town actions, a character may initiate a Socialize Action if they use a building that has a friend portrait on it. To perform Socialize Action, play resolve following. Socialize Action must have at least one character or one friend. So participations are determined as follows. Any character in town may choose to participate in the Socialize Action. However, at least one character must have initiated the action by using a building that has a friend portrait on it. Right. Okay. Easy. All friends who meet both the following criteria become participants. They are active. During the current day, at least one character used a building that has their portrait. Okay, so you would not be a participant. Got it. So it would only be this one because no one used this building. But any character in town may choose to participate in the socialize. But multiple of us can choose to socialize as one person as a group because one person used that. Got it. Think that makes sense? So you socialize here, okay? This is just going over the two, so Sam and Gillard. Okay. Okay, makes sense. Okay, companion is the ultimate friendship status. When a friend becomes a companion, they no longer have a heart or social values. They cannot increase their status further. Each companion has a unique companion ability at the bottom of the friendship card. The rules for resolving each companion ability are presented in the companion abilities. For performing town actions, if a character uses the ability depicted in the friend who has a companion friendship status, it does not enable a socialized action. Instead, after using the building, the character can immediately resolve that friend's companion ability. A friend's companion ability cannot be resolved if the friend is away. Marriage. Some friends have a marriage icon on their friend card. So the little ring. Friends with this icon are eligible to be married to one of the characters in the game. When a marriage-eligible friend becomes a companion, their companion card instructs the player to shuffle an adventure card into the adventure deck. A character who resolves that adventure card can marry that friend. Friends who have reached the companion level but are away can still be married. When a character and a friend are married, that friend's companion card is removed from the friendship board or away area of the friend tray as appropriate and placed face up near the character's board. Shuffle event card FF9 into the event deck. So once the character is married, you will shuffle event card 9, okay? During a character's perform worker action steps, players can use a hired villager depending on the companion alignment. By placing a worker on their married friend to activate their companion ability, a married friend's ability can only be activated by the character that they're married to. Married friends do not return to supply from their associated building is destroyed or removed. Characters can only marry one friend and cannot separate from that friend in the future. Children. As characters settle into Mythwind Valley, they may wish to start a family and have children. Like many of the game's villagers and sprites, children are represented by dice. Okay, so characters can only marry one friend and cannot separate from that friend in the future. Crazy. When an event card allows characters who are married to have children, that character takes one children die from the supply and places it in the dice well of their character tray. A character cannot have more than one children die. At the beginning of the dawn phase, each character who has a children die rolls it and resolve the following. So you roll an X, you lose one coin. If you roll no coins, if you have no coins, it's ignored. If you roll a villager, treat this as a villager die interaction step, or to be a sprite, or has no effect. Oh, cool. After resolving the children die effect, the character returns the die to their dice well. Okay. Additional rules. Such contains additional rules for this expansion. Interaction cards. Friends and Family introduces interaction cards that allow characters to purchase goods and services from each other. Each character has a unique interaction card for each other character. Each interaction card has an owner and a visitor. The owner's portrait is displayed at the top of the card. The visitor's portrait is at the bottom. The visitor is the character who can use that card to interact with the owner. During the setup, the character passes the interaction cards they own to the appropriate visitors. Then, as a daytime town action, a visitor can perform an interaction action by placing their miniature on one of their visitor cards. Their alignment for the action is displayed at the top of the card. Okay? So, I'm the merchant. It's mine, so I'll be going to visit the innkeeper. I'll place my character onto my card here to visit the inn. And then my alignment is either or. Okay. So to resolve an interaction card, can you see that actually? You can barely see that. There we go. Place on the card. To resolve an interaction card, the visitor must pay the cost to the owner. The cost is displayed at the top of the card in the direct exchange between the two characters. In exchange, the owner provides the goods or services to the visitor that offers a variety of rewards. So here, gold equal to renown. If I do that, then I can change a die? Change a now? I have no idea. Pips of 3 for friendship. Hopefully those are explained. Each character has a unique style of interaction cards. For example, the farmer sells crops to visitors that can spend for rewards, and the merchant sells goods that can increase the town's resources. The ranger has character-specific expeditions to resolve. The crafter can character-specific requests, and the expeditions and requests have a portrait of the visitor on them. So each interaction card has its own unique rules and resolutions, which are described at the back of the card. Oh, cool. Perfect. Endless event cards. This expansion includes 4 endless events made up of 8 event cards. These events ensure there's always an event in the event deck. If the event deck is ever depleted, shuffle the events F1, 3, 5, and 7 to use them to create and use them to create a new event deck. Alternatively, players can simply shuffle the endless event cards into the event deck at any time. End of season. When playing the friends portion of the expansion, an additional step is added to the end of season, which is to change active friends. Okay? So during the change active friends step, which would happen at the very end, players can place any active friends in the board. This is where you can switch them from the tray from away to active. However, if a friend card has been heart tokens on them, hearts are lost if you move them off. Additionally, players can place any of their away friends into the friendship board, making them active again to sustain socializing actions, provided access to their companion abilities. they have reached the companion status. Hired workers. Some building and companion abilities require hired workers to be rolled. In order to perform these abilities, a character must have the appropriate hired worker, builder sprite, to perform the ability. Once a hired worker has been rolled, it cannot perform any further actions during the game at desk, either be returned to the desk die or desk well, training tower. Yep, got it. Upgrading skills. The Foundry has an example of a new icon in this expansion, upgrade skill. The upgrade skill icon, which is this right here. I lost my spot. Oh, down here. The upgrade skill icon allows players to discard any skill in their character tray to gain another level higher or equal to the discarded skill, regardless of what sprite is in play. For example, the farmer could discard a level 1 skill green thumb and add the level 2 skill cowboy to a skill slot on the character tray. The farmer would not have to pay the crops required to gain the cowboy skill by doing this action. Damn. The character may also rearrange their other skills this time. Saving the game. When saving the game with friends and family, if the character has gained a children die, it remains in their dice well. Any hearts that have been placed on the friends card remain, and any interaction cards that are in play can be placed back in the character tray and set up again during the next season. Place the friendship board on top of the friends and family tray, and then place lid on top. Straightforward. Ability appendix. Okay. How they have their pronouns: he, him, she, her. Cool. Mara is a they, them. Nice. Gillard is a they, them. Cool. It's a nice touch. Then you have your building abilities in the backside here. Then you have all your graphs up there. So for socializing that action, the cost, end of season, new icons. Very cool. Not too difficult to include, I don't think. Very straightforward. The difficult part about any of these to include them into the game is that, hey, when this is resolved, now add them. When this is open, now add them. So it's you have to kind of remember where to add these cards and when, which is a little annoying. It'd be nice if it just kind of had an easy reference card. Easy if on the cards, if they were updated to say, hey, double check if you have this, add, or at the bottom if it had an asterisk that, hey, if you have FF, add now. Because I remember once this specific number of event is completed, add this in, and yada yada and yada yada yada. So that definitely has to be reviewed for these, because this one, did it say when to add? Because we have these event cards here, right? Yes, FF 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. So F1 through 9. When would those be added? So the endless events. F1, 3, 5, 7. So 2, 4, 6, 8, and 9. So 9 is added when you get someone to a companion level. Yeah. When character friend, when you get married, you would add FF9. When somebody reaches the companion level, no. This was FF9 goes in when someone, character or friend are married, preference, companion cards removed, and blah blah blah. Appropriate prisoner, board shuffle. Yeah, so I was what was it saying about? Yeah, it's just companion the buildings. Yes, I have no idea. So the other ones must happen after you complete, so 7 must say to add 8, I assume. Yep, okay. That's what they are. All right. Cool. Cool. I like it. Honestly, a lot of these additions could probably be added in right away, right from the start. which is kind of cool. It's not overly difficult. Like I said, the most difficult part would be knowing when to add the events, you know, or the adventures and stuff of that sort. So we'll figure that out before we dive into our first game. Yeah, very fun. And that completes all of the rulebook rundowns. It's been a long day, but we started off with the town charter, went through each of the 5 characters that there currently are. We did the expanded horizons portion as well, these little micro expansions, and then the friends and family. So I hope that you enjoyed going through all that and learning how to play with me. My brain is full. But I can't wait to dive into this and start exploring it. I know that Bombastic is really going to like it. I honestly do think that Board would like it too. But we'll see if I can convince him to give it a shot. Maybe I can convince him to give it a shot off stream. That way he's not too embarrassed to be playing a cozy co-op game. But all right, everyone. Thank you for joining me today. Thank you for joining me for this video. If this is the only one that you watched of our rulebook rundowns for Mythwind. My voice is shot. I'm going to get some food because I am starving. But we will see you next time with whatever we have coming. We should be having a gameplay of this up soon. I'm going to see if I can get at least a couple people to join me on stream to do that. So you have to stay tuned for the YouTube video of that. If you caught it on Twitch beforehand, great. Thank you for joining us. But either way, hopefully you watched each of these rulebook rundowns. Hopefully you get something out of them, whether it's me figuring out how to play or us discovering the same like little weird things and having the same questions that makes it easier for you. Anyway, I'm rambling. Thank you for joining me here at Bald Board Games. I'm Bald, and this has been a rulebook rundown of Mythwind. This video specifically for friends and family and those 3 little expansions. So I will see you all in Mythwind.